Hey everybody, it's Thursday evening as always. Welcome to the Financial Thing, investing, peer-to-peer lending, whatever you want to call it, live stream. Hope everybody's having a great week. Got a little bit of a cough, you have to excuse me. It's not coronavirus, so face mask is not needed, but just maybe hay fever, I don't know. Yeah, so pretty interesting week, right? We've had crazy things going on in the cryptocurrency world. Stock market just appears to be on fire. And one could be forgiven for thinking that things are just going to implode downwards, but I'll talk about that, my thoughts on what's going on. Talk about some peer-to-peer lending stuff as always. I think that now we have to be very much more selective in these investments that we choose. And strategies, sometimes, they change a little bit. And I think as far as when I started writing the Financial Thing blog in 2015, my strategy is somewhat shifted as well. And I think that's more of a sign of the times, what's happened, especially with coronavirus. More things are going on to the internet. And we're seeing this explosion in a wealth of knowledge and things that have become open to us, retail investors that weren't there 20 years ago. So it's a pretty exciting time. Yeah, so I'm a little bit all over the place today, I'm going to be honest, but I want you to ask me anything that you want today. As always, I'll answer your questions. If it's peer-to-peer lending related, put it in the chat. Cryptocurrency, general stock market investing. I'm going to kind of go through a little run through in the Trading 212 portfolio. I did record a video yesterday, which I'll edit and put up later. Hopefully I have it up tonight, but I'll explain to you what's going on with the portfolio. It's doing really well, and where my kind of view on the cryptocurrency thing is going, I'm becoming more and more in favor of the research that I do, and I see what's going on with the economic world and what's going on with our governments with the fiat currency. And it's quite concerning, it's quite concerning. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. Trade USA numbers. There's a pretty cool calculator. I think it's called the National Debt Calculator for anybody that's debt. For anybody that's interested in what's going on, there's a really cool clock. I'm going to show it to you. I'll put it on the screen in a minute. It's very interesting. It goes along with what we're talking about, with cryptocurrency. And honestly, today, I want to tell you all why you want to be looking at what's happening in the cryptocurrency world. I was skeptical 10 years ago. I would say probably prior to 2015, I was very, very skeptical of cryptocurrency. I had the same feelings a lot of people, I read on the Facebook group right now, which is it's a Ponzi scheme, it's not real, what the hell is this cryptocurrency stuff? But economically, things have changed. I mean, just in the U.S. alone, they've printed, they used to print about 5% of the U.S. dollars a year, and it's gone way over that now, 20+%, 25%. And it's not going to stop, and these governments are just not going to stop printing money. This is why we have to look at cryptocurrency. Because of that, just if you just looked at it based on that single reason alone, not to mention the tech, what's going on in the technology world, why we'd want to look at it, but you could look at it on a purely economical scale and say, we have to look at these new digital assets just based on what's going on in the economy. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. If you can hit the thumbs up, I'd super appreciate it. Helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I'm going to be giving you a ton of value. We'll keep it less than an hour as we do every week. As you know, we always keep it less than an hour. We'll say a quick thumbs up to everybody, a quick hi. Alan in Basingstoke. I'm going to go through this really quick. David in Snowy Chiltons. John Morgan. Brass Monkeys in Swindon. I don't know what that means, John. Maybe that's some Cockney speak. Colin Perry in the Peak District. Aki Chapin. Cold Accrington. David Dawson, Staffordshire. Lionfish hunting in the Cayman Islands. Lucky you. Lionfish hunting. Norman P. in Freezing, Sussex. Chimpo Naughty of Darren, of course, in Cambridge. Peter in Leatherhead. Stephen Manton, Solihull. Football fever tonight. Yeah, we got the Grimsby Town representing the 1980 Grimsby Town retro shirt that I've had since I was a kid, representing Grimsby Town, of course. The Mariners, Harry the Haddock. I used to have a blow-up Harry the Haddock. That's another story. Egg and B is here. Nice to see you, Egg, and welcome to the stream. Buenas tardes a todos. ¿Cómo está? Annabelle, ¿cómo te sientes? 23 degrees here today and minus 23 in Scotland. Whoa. Yeah. Richard Williams, Sunny Downs. Stephen Green, Southport. Tony's in Somerset. Brian, 91100 in Woburn. Sean Elliott, minus 4 degrees in Edinburgh. That was a terrible accent. Chris Haig, checking in. Nice to see you. Philip Walters, and John Day says there's snow on the ground on Nottingham. I love the weather updates every week. It's kind of a fun thing that we do. It's silly, but it's fun. By the way, in Orlando right now, where I am, I have the air conditioning on, so not to make you sad, but that's all good. Paul Bagworth, nice to see. Patty Gilfillan, I think, in France. George Batchelor from Bridlington. And Paul New in Stockport. Welcome to everybody if you're new on the stream. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk finance for about an hour. We're going to talk about everything today. But I will say this, kind of a quiet week in peer-to-peer. It seems things are really settling. We did see a new launch of a peer-to-peer lending company over the last week. Have mixed feelings on it. I don't want to pass judgment, but I'll talk to you a little bit about it. I haven't really researched too much. I'll probably open an account to check it out. That's Connective Lending, which Norman Akram was one of the founders of Funding Secure, who left way before the collapse of Funding Secure and the debacle happened. I don't know. I don't really know Norman. Never had much really communication with him because he left sort of when financial thing was becoming more of a thing at the time, but we weren't connected in that way. Do I believe he had anything to do with the downfall of Funding Secure? Likely not. So it's just hard to invest in something where a founder has a connection to an old company, but maybe we have a duty to at least give them the opportunity to see what's going on with the new company, Connective Lending. And maybe we're going to give him an opportunity to come on here and talk to me and talk to you guys, and you can base your own opinions about it. We just have to be more careful now, more selective. So obviously I think they have a hard road ahead of them trying to get new investors and clients, but we'll see what's going on with that. LoanPad, slow and steady again. If you're not a LoanPad investor, I personally am. I have money in LoanPad. They're just so slow and steady, right? You're not going to make a lot of money in interest, but as far as safety goes, I hate to use the word safety in investing because there's always a risk. It's not covered by FSCS protection in any way. But, as far as low risk peer-to-peer lending goes, LoanPad is definitely up there on top of my list. Also, still, they continue to offer one-day exit times. So if you're a LoanPad lender, you're probably very happy, I would imagine. Put in the chat if you are actually invested in LoanPad. I'd like to see how many of you are. But I'm very happy with them. Their loan book is just under 20 million now. It's up another 600,000 from last week. We were at about 18.5. The loan book continues to grow. 40% loan to value, so still nice balance of what they're lending and how much they're lending at. Still continuing to work with their loan partners. They got 44 loans this week. They had an extra loan. Still 5 overdue, 1 extended, 1 defaulted loan. They're going to be clarifying a little better about what exactly extended and overdue means and how they're handling those loans, which I like. I like the transparency. They sent an update out recently. If you're a LoanPad investor, you will have gotten the update. But so they said over £20 million in funds under management, 2,500 investors. They've had 150% growth in 2020, notwithstanding COVID. They've got 5 lending partners now and others in the pipeline. No delays to any withdrawal requests. So yes, they still are processing the withdrawals if you want to get out very quickly. So there is that liquidity. Highly important in peer-to-peer lending. If you try to exit out of anything, you'll know we were blessed with liquidity 2 years ago. We were able to sell loans on secondary markets in places like RateSetter, even places like MoneyThing, Lendy back in the day. Sorry to talk about it, but they had a very liquid secondary market. And what you've seen now is that since COVID has happened, it's really dried up. And anybody that was in RateSetter in the queue, you knew there was no liquidity. It was taking months to get out. LoanPad is one of the few companies out there right now that you can actually, today at least, and there's never a guarantee with this. I want you to understand that this can change any time. But today, you need to withdraw your money out of LoanPad. You can. Okay, so that's a big plus. And not many companies are able to offer liquidity in that respect. You can also get that kind of liquidity if you're willing to go with a small premium in cost in assets capital. But other companies in peer-to-peer lending don't even offer a way to you to exit loans early, like Crowd Property, for instance. There's no secondary market. Cufflink has a secondary market. Unbolted has a very, I would say, unusual secondary market. It's not very active, and it's only on certain types of loans, but it does exist. So you are limited to secondary markets, which is a big thing in peer-to-peer. So to see that LoanPad still continues to offer this is a big thumbs up. I like it. Here's the thing about the loan statuses, because this was something that I would always see overdue, extended, and I wanted to have more information about that. So if you look in their FAQs, frequently asked questions, you can find out about those loan statuses and what they mean. They say, we have identified that our current loan statuses result in loans showing as overdue simply due to the time elapsed since the original maturity date, notwithstanding the normal short-term finance practice of granting extensions and or the loan itself being a loan term which has interest service on a monthly basis. Therefore, we will shortly be amending the definition of overdue to better reflect loans that are past the contractual repayment date and which LoanPad, together with our lending partner, is actively seeking repayment. This will result in some loan statuses changing over the coming weeks. So what they're basically saying is overdue doesn't necessarily mean the loan's in trouble right now, the way it's categorized. Because a lot of times in bridging and property lending, extensions are given because refinancing takes time. It gets delayed a lot of the time. Banks are not very quick to move if they are the ones who are refinancing. So what LoanPad has done is categorize those as overdue, even though they may just be extended out for a couple of months while refinancing takes place or even repayment. Maybe it'll look slightly negative on the loan side. So they're going to reclassify that, which I think is a good thing. And also in another announcement, they're going to be offering the investors the chance to invest in our growth via Seeders, an equity crowdfunding campaign. I think I've said this before. I do like LoanPad and stuff. Now the whole Seeders thing to me is a little bit more of an unknown, because I found Seeders to be more of like a stock trading platform than necessarily people investing in the companies for long-term growth. I see a lot of flipping going on, a lot of active trading on Seeders, and so I think it's good that LoanPad will be able to access some finance from being able to offer equity positions in LoanPad. you'll have to do your own research on it, see what you feel about it. I personally don't get into the seed as loan flipping stuff. It's not for me. I'd rather put my money in cryptocurrency or into stocks and things like that. But there are a lot of people that make a lot of money on seeders and buy into these companies, and so do your research, because they are going to be offering a chance for you to do that, which I think is kind of cool. So yeah, LoanPad growing in the right direction, especially during very tough times. I mean, imagine what we're going through now with COVID, to see a peer-to-peer company flourishing and really sticking to their guns too. LoanPad has always stuck to what they know, which, you'll hear me say this time and time again. I think it's important for these peer-to-peer companies that they stick to what they know instead of veering off into weird things that they don't have too much experience in. That is cool. What else are we going to talk about? We'll talk about, I know last week RateSetter dropped the news about Metro Bank taking over the loan book, and there still seems to be a lot of talk about this provision fund, and investors are getting upset because they're not getting all of their interest that they thought they were going to get over the period of years. Well, guess what? Wake up. You put your money in an investment, there's no guarantee that you're getting interest. And that's just the way it is. Sometimes these peer-to-peer lending companies will close out an investment, and unfortunately, you're not going to get 2 years worth of interest that you thought you were going to have your money invested in. It's just part, be happy that you got your money back, and you have gotten some interest. If you've been invested in RateSetter over a period of years, you've probably done very well. When I first started getting in there, rates were about 7.5%. So over the years, I've gotten plenty of interest. I'm quite happy to get the capital back from them. The little capital I had, I didn't have much left. As far as the provision fund, I don't know how much is going to be left in that provision fund. I would take a guess there might not be as much as you think by the time they take care of all the bad debts, the bad loans, and that money gets paid out to you as an investor who's invested. But any of that risk that Metro Bank now is taking on by buying and taking over RateSetter's loan book, they're going to get that provision fund, because RateSetter was based on that provision fund. So them taking on that risk, they're getting that provision fund, and I totally understand that. I also understand why investors might be a little bit salty about it, but Metro's taking on the risk, hundreds of millions of pounds of risk, so they get that provision fund. That's part of the deal. So yeah, I'm super happy about it. If you have questions, again, please hit that thumbs up too. Thank you for everybody being here and listening to me natter on for an hour or less, as we always do. Yes, it is the Grimsby Town Football Club edition tonight. I do have love for the Mariners because they're a small little team, and they used to pass the hat around when I was a kid. We would go watch the games, and then at the end of the game, the hat would go around to help pay the players. That's the kind of small town home team that I really appreciate. The whole huge Man United thing, I can't relate to that. But the passing of the hat, so the Grimsby Town boys could have some fish and chips after the games. Happy. Stephen Hale says, try inviting Norman on here. May be interesting. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to get Norman Akram on here. Give him the opportunity to maybe share his thoughts. I would imagine he wouldn't share much thoughts about Funding Secure, but maybe his experiences of how he founded it. I think that would be cool. So I'm going to reach out and ask him to come on the stream. And again, I'm still working on getting more guests for the stream. It does take a little bit of time to set that up, so be patient with me on that. Chris Hay says, any view on Able Rate? I've got a feeling they're in trouble. Why do you have a feeling they're in trouble? I don't, I've always said this to everybody on the stream too. When you're getting high interest returns, you are taking much higher risk. Loans that are paying 15, 16%. What do you think the borrower is paying? A lot. So I've always kept my investment in those types of high-paying, high-risk-reward peer-to-peer companies, relatively small. I don't have the stomach for it, because having been burned a few times, you learn your lessons about touching the hot stove and getting your hand burnt. Just my opinion. I don't know. I've had David Bradley Ward on the stream. You can watch the video. It's archived on the Financial Thing YouTube channel. If you're an investor, go watch the interview. I mean, I didn't get any feeling from David that Able Rate was in trouble. But I'll be honest, I don't really keep up as much on them as the other peer-to-peer companies. So I just don't have a lot invested through Able Rate. So really not much at all. So I don't know. Steve Mann says, LoanPad are my bread and butter. Yes, agree. Norman P says, really good return not from Landy this week. Only 3.7% return on capital. Yep, continues to be an absolute poop fest over there. The Landy administration returns. We'll talk about that too. Yeah, we got several of you with LoanPad. It looks like I invest in LoanPad. I use it to hold cash before putting it somewhere else. Okay, understand. Paul News in LoanPad. Philip Walters. Yeah, so I see a lot of you in LoanPad. Yeah, and that's another thing too. When RateSetter returns money to you, you're going to have to kind of figure out where that money is going to go. Probably some of you are thinking that now. I had family money that was in RateSetter, specifically my dear old mother, and I was kind of thinking about where do I want to put that money. So I decided to put a portion of that allocation into some cryptocurrency, and probably Bitcoin, maybe a little bit of Ether, and then the rest probably go to somewhere like LoanPad. So yeah, you have to figure out where you want to put that. My top 5 has really not changed at all over the last few months. It's still the same. It's still LoanPad, LendInvest, which we're going to talk about LendInvest too this week. They've changed things around a little bit. But LoanPad, LendInvest, Unbolted would be on my list of people that are, companies that I enjoy investing through right now. Assets, Capital, Cufflink. Who am I missing? And then Crowd Properties also, I think, is doing a really good job. If I forgot anybody else, tell me. Lending Works, I'm kind of drawing down from at this point until I see something change with them. But happy about LoanPads. What else do we have this week? Yeah, we're going to talk about LendInvest. They've got a buy-to-let product, obviously. Now, LendInvest is not strictly peer-to-peer lending company because the way it's structured, you're not actually lending money directly under contract from you as a lender direct to the buyer. Does that make a whole lot of difference these days? I'm not really certain that it does. Some people used to think, well, if the company goes bankrupt, like the peer-to-peer lending company, then at least you got contracts directly with buyers to lenders. Problem is that we've seen again and again through these companies that have gone into administration, it really doesn't matter that you do have a direct contract between the buyer, as the investor, us, to the loan borrower, because the administration companies tend to eat up all the money and they're representing us directly anyways. So I don't know that LendInvest, the way it's structured, necessarily is a big negative at this point. Time will tell. But they are restructuring their buy-to-let product a little bit. Let's see, where are my notes on this? Yeah, so they have a buy-to-let product. They're going to be increasing up to an 80% loan-to-value product, and they're only going to be paying 3.89%. I gotta tell you, that does not excite me at all. The LTV is so high and the return rate is so low that I start to wonder, is that a place that I would continue to put money at those types of numbers? Probably not. You want to see LTV low. That's, for you as an investor, if you're investing in a loan, you want to see those loan to values as low as possible. Look at LoanPad down in the 40% range, right? You're getting LendInvest paying 3.89% at 80% loan to value. To me is, whoa, hold on a second. I can get that same rate, at LoanPad for a 40% loan to value. Now, yes, there are some advantages with LendInvest being an established company, and I would say a financial heavyweight, because the company is backed by a much bigger company. Like LendInvest, that we know, is one part of a much bigger financial company, so they do have that financial backing, so that's a plus. However, are you really receiving a lot of interest for the risk that you're taking on a loan? You're not. 3.89%. Incidentally, I've been getting about 5.76% through the loans that I picked out at LendInvest. I do it on the AutoInvest product. My settings are basically 70% max loan to value, and I only do tranche A's. And I've been getting 5.76%, which I'm quite happy about. 3.89%, no interest in that. Not at all. And I don't do the LendInvest bonds. I don't like bonds within these Pittsburgh companies, so just strictly the loans itself. So they're changing their product a little bit. They do these HMO loans, which is housing of multiple occupancies. It's basically where somebody will take a house, split it into 5 or 6 separate bedrooms, and then rent out the bedroom to an individual person. So LendInvest does this. They're increasing the maximum loan size for small HMOs to $1 million, which that's a lot, and introduced a new 75% loan to value product for large HMOs with a maximum loan size of $1.5 million, and has increased its definition of a large HMO from 10 to 15 bedrooms. So, and then multi-unit freehold blocks, LendInvest has introduced a new maximum loan size of £2 million at 70% LTV, and £1.5 million max loan size will get you 75% loan to value, and rate reductions have also happened across the range. One thing I will say, HMOs, I'm not convinced. My experience investing in HMOs has been pretty bad over the period of I've been doing peer-to-peer lending for 6 years, and HMOs have just been a pain. They're a pain to manage. First of all, there is an advantage to them that if you own a buy-to-let and the tenant moves out, right, you have zero income. If you have an HMO, you've got renting to 6 individual people, and the tenant, one or 2 or 3 of the tenants move out, you still have 50% of your income or more, or at least you're still getting income. So you still have a couple of rooms filled. Problem is the HMO tenants are not stable at all. They're constantly moving in and out. And I would imagine they're putting a lot of wear and tear on the property, having 5 or 6 different individuals living in a house. You don't know how they're going to take care of the property, or if they are. And it's always a constant hassle trying to find new tenant occupants to put in these HMOs. So I personally wouldn't like to own one. I'm sure they're very profitable if you can run them correctly. In fact, I have a friend of mine that has 5 HMO houses, small, 5-bedroom ones, and he absolutely kills it return-wise, but they can be a complete pain to manage. So am I a fan of HMOs? No, I'm really not. But LendInvest seems to be. I don't know. Tell me what you think of HMOs. Do you have any thoughts? Also, LendInvest, big news. JP Morgan Superbank commits £500 million to LendInvest for future loan originations. LendInvest sold a £125 million loan portfolio to JP Morgan in September 2020. That's great news. I mean, that means that JP Morgan believes the LendInvest loans are solid, so they're giving him a £500 million credit line. And then probably what LendInvest will do is package up more of these loan portfolios and then give it to JP Morgan. What I do wonder is, again, does LendInvest then become institutional? Because why do they need retail investors' money when they have £500 million from JP Morgan? So LendInvest would be another company that I would foresee in the future would maybe end its retail investing, just like RateSetter has, just like Lambay has, and these other companies. So LendInvest may be another one that we see kind of just close its doors to us retail investors. I wouldn't be surprised. Once the institution money comes in, everything changes, right? Who would you rather deal with, one JP Morgan bank or 1,000 of me? Obviously, you deal with the JP Morgan, it's a lot easier, it's more efficient, you've got less customer service needs. Now you just deal with the borrowers. When you're retail lending to peer-to-peer lenders like us, you have to deal with not only your investor side of us, with questions all the time and calling them up. You also have to deal with your borrowers. So you have this big customer service base that you have to service. And to me, it makes sense that you would go institutional. Like if I was LendInvest, I would partner with JP Morgan and say, hey, to hell with the retail investors. They, just a lot of headaches with them putting in their £100 here and £200 here on these loans. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that happen anytime soon. What else? What else do we have? Excuse me, been a kind of a quiet peer-to-peer lending week. Let's see, Assets Capital Chief does not expect a wave of CBILS defaults. Who knows, Stuart? That's from Stuart Law, head of Assets Capital. I've got the green shake too, by the way, this week. Spinach, celery, yogurt, blueberries, peanut butter, cucumber, and broccoli, all in this green shake, which doesn't taste particularly wonderful, but it's very good for the body. Make you go poo. If you have trouble pooing, green shakes are amazing. Sorry to be so graphic, but it's important to keep a good, clean bowel system. But yes, Stuart Law from Assets Capital does not foresee a big increase in CBILS loan defaults. I don't know if I agree with you, Stuart, but we'll see. These businesses have to be struggling right now. Everything is locked down. I have a % share in a family couple of commercial rental units, and we've had to give our tenants free rent for a period of months. So they're obviously struggling, and how they would pay loans back, I don't know. We'll see what Stuart has up his sleeve. I believe him. He's an honest guy. So yes, absolutely. We'll see what happens. There's really no telling for the future. I'm going to read through some of your comments too. Just put a comment in the chat if you have a question. Again, hit that thumbs up. Thank you to everybody for being here. I know you have a lot of choices what you can do with your time on a Thursday evening, and I'm really very humbled that you would choose to spend it here. Let's see. LoanPad, very low rates compared to Peerberry and tied in for 60 days. Yes, JP, the LoanPad rates are very low, but they are low for a reason, because the risk is reduced. So, if you want to have a higher risk model, you want to gain more interest, look at other peer-to-peer companies out there and just understand you're taking significantly more risk. Places like AbleRate, places like Crowd Property, you can make more, you can make 8-9%, but you are taking on more risk. Or bung it in cryptocurrency and take risk in that area. I definitely recommend diversification. Again, I'm a big fan of diversification. I don't believe anybody should be having their money all in one sector, not peer-to-peer lending, not cryptocurrency, not stocks. Spread it around, and then, if something happens to one sector, you're not going to get hit as badly. And these financial sectors are going to ebb and flow. You saw it back in March. What happened with the stock market, what happened with cryptocurrency, piling down, bombing out. But here's the thing, things usually do come back. We saw the stock market, I think in 2020, make up all of its returns in 19 days. So the question is, which 19 days? If the market's crashed, trying to get in and out at the wrong time is very difficult. So diversify. Yeah. What else we got? Connective lending. Regarding connective lending, maybe there will be cash looking for a new pit as auto and crowd property blend yielding less. Cash looking for... Yeah, so I think this is a great point for people that don't have time to do manual lending. This is why crowd property has been very popular. You can put your money in, set your auto investment requirements, and then the money just goes in automatically. So I think for me personally, auto has been quite good. I just don't have a lot of time as I used to have to be manually picking out loans anymore and doing all the research. So I do tend to use the auto a lot. I still manually invest on Cufflink for the most part, just because their auto invest is a little bit different. I like the manual more, but I'm a big fan of auto. Racer 8880. Hi, nice to see you on the stream. Lender Market, question mark. Is that a peer-to-peer company? I'm not familiar with them, so let me look. Lender Market. Let's see. Lender Market. We offer. Yeah, I've never heard of them. How long have they been around for? It's not something that I see come up in conversation too much, but I'll take a look at them and see. David Alderman says, I like the loan pad model. Yes, me too. JP, liking lender market too. 13.5% return to date. Is that for a year? I mean, that's a huge amount. 13.5% 1 year. Hey, Chica Boy, nice to see you. Dave Dawson says, I would never rely on getting the money back when they state it with peer-to-peer. Yeah, it's never a guarantee. Ever. Never. Hi, Arthur Atchison is here from Belfast. Nice to see you. Dave Dawson says, I did okay out of RateSetter and got the introductory bonus. Yeah, that's a good point too. If you got cash back out of a peer-to-peer company when you signed up, you did good. Some companies like LoanPad right now has a bonus structure. So if you put money in, you can get yourself a up to £100 bonus. So that will add to your returns. If you get say £100 on 1,000, that's an extra 10% return. It's pretty good, right? It's pretty good. By the way, if you want to sign up at LoanPad, I'll give you my link for the financial thing readers. You can get up to £100 cash back. Just remember your capital is at risk because it's not FSCS protected, but here's the link down here. You can sign up there, get yourself some cash back. Mike Powell is here. Nice to see you, Mike. Don't forget to sign up for the Facebook group, the Financial Thing Facebook group too. And also, don't forget to sign up on Facebook for the Funding Secure Action Group and the Lendy Action Group to stay up on all the latest news with the administrations. Collective information and knowledge, highly important these day and age, as we've seen. Let's see what else. Just need Elon Musk to give LoanPad a thumbs up. Yeah, there you go. Yes, Annabelle, I do come from Poole. Well, I spent the first 10 years of my life in Grimsby. So Poole was a migration down south at teenage years. But yeah, the Grimsby town, man. Grimsby town. What a classic shirt, 1980s. Race Viventa, anybody? Does anybody out there use Viventa? I do not. It's European. I look like a licorice all sort. Thank you so much. How are you, Mike Powell? Nice to see you. AkiChep says, got a bit of Bitcoin last week. It's up and down like a bloody yo-yo. Yep, it will. Hang on to it, AkiChep. Hang on to that Bitcoin. Octopus Choice, yeah. That, by the way, yeah, that is on my top 5. I don't want to remove them because I love Octopus Choice, but to me it looks like they're not going to start their peer-to-peer lending back up again. So I might have to take them off there, and if they come back, then re-add them on there. Patty Gilfillan. You have a lot of straight L's and F's in there. What is the liquidity route out of Bitcoin and to cash out? In other words, who are the buyers? Bitcoin buyers is just like a stock, right? You have a buyer and seller. Any liquidity comes from there being buyers and sellers. There has always been liquidity within cryptocurrency. Nothing different. Price is based on demand and supply. So what somebody's willing to pay, what somebody's willing to sell for. You can sell on a market order or a limit order, just like a stock or share, set your price, or sell for the market price. So yeah, liquidity is just people like me and you who want to buy cryptocurrency on that moment. Very easy. Excuse me. David Lightly says, have I come across capital stackers? They have a big minimum but seem to have an interesting angle with 10% plus on offer. Yeah, I'm just very skeptical of 10% plus. I've been through it before, and I don't know. Here's my thinking right now on 10% plus or 12%. If you look at cryptocurrency, right, you can look at the growth of Bitcoin over the last decade, and we're looking about 200% a year increases. Yes, you've had the drop. Yes, it depends on when you get in. But, I'm personally not one for putting large amounts of money into any one peer-to-peer lending company, just because the way my finances are set up. £5,000 minimum to me is quite a lot. That's a big chunk. So I would rather take that 5K, put it into some crypto. I think I'm going to do much better than 10%. For the risk that I'm taking, by the way. I could see actually, sometimes in some cases, some of the peer-to-peer lending companies are offering 12% in interest. I could see that risk being way higher than buying Bitcoin, right? Number one, Bitcoin, I have liquidity. If I need it, I can exit out quickly in a second. Okay. The second thing is I'm not relying on somebody else to do due diligence on a loan that they're underwriting with crypto coin. I'm just relying on the market and the way it is, like a stock. So I could see sometimes, in some cases, not always, but in some cases, cryptocurrency being actually a less risky investment than a 12 or 13% peer-to-peer lending loan, which I find really interesting. Yeah, but no, I don't know much about capital stackers, to be honest. I tend to only look at companies, too, that have loan books that are somewhat sizable. LoanPad's probably one of the few smaller loan book companies, but if they haven't been around for a few years and they don't have a sizable loan book, usually over 15 or 20 million, not really all that interested. Yeah, Chimp. Darren says RateSetter and Metro Bank. Quick, easy, pain-free exit. What's to complain about? Some people like to complain. Just the way it is. Thank you for saying I look like the Witcher. I don't know what that means. Agree. Norman says Octopus is close to lenders. No sign of reopening. Hi, Nikhil Ramnarine. Nice to see you, Nikhil. I'm with LoanPad as well. Do you think rates on LoanPad will go up in the future? If interest rates rise, then LoanPad's rates will rise. But right now, it looks like we're going to be at very rock bottom interest rates for now. Obviously, LoanPad is competing against other lending places, so the way that their lending partners like HAMP get business is to keep the rates competitive. That's why we're seeing these reductions. So I don't think you're going to see an interest rise anytime soon. Mike Powell has interesting information as always. Thanks, Mike. If you are not in true peer-to-peer, you would have no direct claim on the security and would just be an unsecured creditor alongside the gas man. HMRC, the council, has and no loss release. Okay, that's a great point. So what Mike is saying is in LendInvest, if they were to go out of business and you were to take a loss, and again, I'm not a tax guy, so I'm just commenting on what Mike says, but he's saying that if LendInvest were to take a loss, you took a loss as an investor, that you wouldn't be able to write it off against your taxes. Yeah, no, I don't think. Gail, hi Gail Leach, nice to see you. We're going to talk about some cryptocurrency stuff too, and also Lendy, some of the recoveries that have come in this week. I'm going to show you a graphic, and so you can see what's going on with them. Annabelle Nyrin says, I'm a landlord, letting three properties, been in the game 20 years, and I wouldn't touch HMOs. So there you go. You heard it from a landlord. I think HMOs have just got to be a complete pain in the rump. By the way, your comments are a little bit delayed, so that's why you're hearing this stuff a little bit after you've typed it. John Day says, HMO is vital to look at loan and quality regarding local demand and students, etc. Dave says, for loan purposes, I think HMOs are okay, as generally they seem to get a mortgage on them repaying the loan. I just don't like 80% loan to value. That's my gripe. Yeah. David said, I think your analysis of LendInvest is spot on, but we can just make the most of it while it's still in retail. I agree. Totally. Annabelle says, regarding Vanguard, just found out they definitely don't allow EU residents to invest. That's a real shame. Yeah, that is a shame. One thing you can do is, you can buy Vanguard ETFs through pretty much most platforms. They offer that US equity ETF. So, yeah. Mike Powell says, if you consider the assets capital portfolio, there are actually very few of the loans you would expect to be struggling not making payments. BBILS grants seem to have mitigated issues with rent payments. Yep, that's a good point. Paul News says, £34,000 per Bitcoin, double my money. It's always nice to double your money. Yeah, so we had a Paul News says Elon Musk backs Bitcoin. You know, there's a huge piece of news this week. Anybody that follows cryptocurrency, Tesla taking $1.5 billion of their own cash money and buying Bitcoin. We saw this spike in the price, 41,000 up to, I don't remember what the price went from, but it was a big spike, maybe 20%. So Elon Musk obviously believes that in Bitcoin. For how long, I don't know. I think it's a hedge for him, a hedge investment, but he's very pro cryptocurrency. And I think what you're going to see happen is the snowball effect. I've been reading news stories of some municipalities and cities that want to hold cryptocurrency now on their balance sheet. It's for anybody that's a naysayer of cryptocurrency, there's some things you really need to understand about it, which I'll talk to you about. One of the things is scarcity, right? We have a scarce product. There will never be any more than, I forget, like 21 million Bitcoins mined, right? So what's happening is you have an average of 900 Bitcoins being mined a day, but you have all these big companies, these institutions. We have Cash App in the US, we got PayPal, we have Robinhood, these hedge funds that are buying it, Paul Tudor Jones, Mr. Saylor. He's got over $1 billion in Bitcoin, 7,000 coins, something like that. These guys are buying up more Bitcoin than is being mined. I mean, just Robinhood. And Robinhood is a huge stock trading app here in the US. And they have over I think like 80 or 100 million accounts. And they offer a Bitcoin tracking product. Now, it's not an actual product. You don't actually buy Bitcoin, but you're buying, Robinhood is buying the Bitcoin. And then what you own is tracking the price of it. But that Bitcoin still needs to be bought. So you have a player like Robinhood who's buying up all this Bitcoin, like millions and hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. And the supply is dwindling down, right? You're going to see the price over the long term will increase because there's lower supply and higher demand, which will increase the price. Is what happened this week with Elon Musk and Tesla buying into Bitcoin. So for anybody that's a cryptocurrency naysayer, I'm telling you right now, this is just going to get more and more institutionalized. We had BNY Mellon Bank announce that they are going to allow storing of digital assets. It's happening, okay? It's happening. It's not a Ponzi scheme. This is basically digital gold. If you look what's happening with the world economies, they are in trouble. They're printing money. You got countries like Venezuela and Argentina, places that have had real problems with their currency collapses, and people are going to start going into these digital asset currencies. And do I believe in the future in some of them? No, I don't. I think a lot of them are going to crash and become probably worth 80 or 90% of their value today. Do I believe in Bitcoin? Absolutely. I think Bitcoin is going to be the digital asset standard of storing value. I mean, remember this, right? Bitcoin does not really have much of a practical use, and this is something that a lot of people really get confused about. And I want to tell you about the difference really between some of the coins that you're going to see out there and Bitcoin. I get asked a lot, what's the difference between, for example, Ethereum and Bitcoin? I'll show you right now. Bitcoin was never, ever designed to be something that was necessarily useful. It was designed to be a store of value, right? This is a very, very important thing to understand. Okay, Bitcoin was designed to be a store of value. Ethereum, on the other hand, was designed to have practical uses, being able to create transactional facilities across its platform. Let me go ahead and show you what exactly the difference is between those two things. so you can get a kind of understanding about what it is that you might, some of the reasons why you might want to look into cryptocurrency if you're a big naysayer. I was too, and a lot of people were. A lot of people were very much against it. But I'm telling you right now, if you are ignoring, the probably once in a generation chance that you may have to create wealth. I have no prediction for the future, by the way. A quick disclaimer, I probably have very little knowledge about anything. Don't listen to me. But from my research that I understand, this has been a once in a generation opportunity to create massive amounts of wealth. Of course, we all wish we'd have got him when it was $2.50, right? I mean, of course, but that didn't happen. But we can still look at the price it is today and where it's going to go, right? People will say, well, Bitcoin's overvalued. No, it's not. Bitcoin is valued at like a stock in some ways, right? Look what happened to GameStop. GameStop wasn't priced at its value. It's priced at what people were willing to pay for it. Okay. No difference with cryptocurrency. There is no limit to the amount of money that a Bitcoin could be worth. It could go to $10 million or $1 million or 100,000. It's about what people are willing to pay for it. I purchased Bitcoin when it was $19,000 back in 2017. I also purchased it when it was $8,000. Fortunately, I wasn't smart enough to buy it when it was $3,000 in March of 2020. I bought some at $28,000 and $30,000 because I'm willing to buy it at the price of what I'm willing to pay. So the value of Bitcoin can continue to rise. So yeah, it's something that I think you definitely need to understand. It's very important. Let me show you the difference between Ethereum, for instance, and Bitcoin and what it's designed to do so you can have an idea. Now, both Bitcoin and Ethereum were powered using ledgers and cryptography. Obviously, this is where the term cryptocurrency comes from. It's cryptography currency, and it uses ledgers to keep track of transactions. The big problem with Bitcoin and why it can't really be used as a massively wide payment system is it can take from 10 minutes up to usually half an hour for a transaction to complete. Obviously, that's not very good if you're going to a shop to buy a hot dog and you need the thing to run through quickly. That doesn't really work. But again, Bitcoin was never designed for that. Bitcoin was developed as a store of value. Now, Ethereum, on the other hand, it can create transactions very quickly. The problem with Ethereum right now is the price is high. And when the price of these coins go up, Ethereum, when there's a transaction made, or they call it a hash, a fee has to be paid. Now, the more expensive the coin gets, the more expensive that fee is. So I think one of the goals with Ethereum is going to be to actually get the price down to where it could be used for transactions. At the moment, that's not really feasible. Ethereum was developed to facilitate contracts and applications using the Ether currency. Now, Bitcoin and Ethereum use different coding algorithms called hashes. Bitcoin uses the SHA-256, and Ethereum uses ET hash. So basically, in theory, they're exactly the same thing, right? They're digital currency coins, right? One developed as a store of value, think digital gold. Another one developed as a platform for people to develop applications. You can use it for retrieving information. There's a lot of companies that are looking not necessarily at Ethereum, but other cryptocurrency tokens to store information, because cloud storage is becoming increasingly more expensive as we have more data on the cloud. These companies are paying more money for this cloud storage, and they're understanding the blockchain technology. They can have access to this information very quickly and for a lot cheaper. And this is why you're seeing some of the coins that are very cheap right now. For instance, Dogecoin, right, could be used in practical applications because it's so inexpensive, right? Right now, as it as it stands, Ethereum won't be able to be used for that because we're talking about $1,795 for a coin, and Bitcoin will never be used for that because it's slow and it was never designed to be used in that capacity. So there you go. As a quick little lesson on Bitcoin. Now, also another thing to know, you're going to see more and more adoption of these cryptocurrencies by institutional places, right? As I said, PayPal is now offering support for you to be able to buy Bitcoin. Now, when somebody goes to PayPal to buy Bitcoin, PayPal is actually buying that Bitcoin and storing it. Okay, that's a huge amount of Bitcoins that PayPal is going to be purchasing. There is only 21 million of these things that are ever going to be in existence. Right now, 18 million. So we're in the final 3 million, right? And as this thing, Bitcoin, becomes more scarce, I predict you're just going to see that asset value continue to rise and rise and rise. Of course, there's going to be those corrections like we saw in March. It's going to happen. You know, I fully expect, if I had to make a prediction today, again, this is just my opinion, I think you're in a huge bull run of cryptocurrency right now, and I think it will experience a big correction at some point. If I had to take a guess, maybe the summer, maybe the late summer of 2021, you might see a big pullback, and some of those coins that we call them shit coins, because there's a lot of coins out that really have no practical use, and people are just trading. But those coins will experience a massive correction, and this is why another thing I highly recommend using Coinbase Pro and setting stop limits. You know, if you bought a coin, set your stop limits to a 20% loss or a 15% loss. So if for some reason you're snoozing in your bed with your PJs on, your little hat, and that price crashes in the middle of the night, your stop loss will hopefully get triggered by the platform like Coinbase or Kraken or whatever you're with. And you won't have to worry because you wake up in the morning and go, oh, the price of one of the shit coins went through the floor. Yeah, I had my stop loss set, and I've made videos about this to show you how to do that on Coinbase Pro. But set your stop limits, so just like a stock, if the price falls through the floor, it can get triggered automatically while you're sleeping, because crypto is getting traded 24 hours a day. But yes, I fully expect to see a pullback at some point. This won't continue forever. We're in this heyday of Bitcoin just exploding. Everything's exploding. All the coins are doing well. And usually, I don't think we've seen the peak yet, but usually when everybody's piling in, this is the time when the warning lights start to appear. I don't think we're at that point yet, because we're going to see this mass adoption of institutional money coming into cryptocurrency. So if you're looking for a punt where you could take a relatively small amount of cash, in relation to what you have net, take a punt on a cryptocurrency, man. I mean, the risk to reward is vastly huge. I mean, your risk is quite low to the amount of reward you can get. So, I'm really changing my mind about cryptocurrency. I've been sold. The more research I do, and the more I look at what's going on in the economy, this money printing, it's a huge problem. And I'm getting more and more sold on this type of asset. And I'm starting to move away from cash, because I think cash is crap. Inflation is going to eat cash up. And I'm looking at these returns on these, especially on Bitcoin, and I'm thinking, there really isn't, aside the risk and aside of being able to sleep well at night and not seeing that volatility, I don't see as much benefit for me personally holding any cash at this point. So who knows if I'll be right about that. Just my little 2 cents worth of what I think about it. But there'll be a snowball effect too from what Tesla did. I guarantee you other major companies will be storing assets in Bitcoin. We've seen some big funds do it. Mass Mutual in the U.S., massive financial company. Look, financial companies get it wrong, right? Too. They've been known to donkey up their investments, but When you see people like that putting money in and billions into this stuff, they know something. Believe me, they're not stupid. We're seeing a lot of people changing their tune about cryptocurrency and whether it's actually a viable form of asset storage. It's happening. Pay attention. You're going to see more companies like Tesla going in and using this as a way to create company profits. Promise you that. Google Michael Saylor. If you want to see somebody that used to be a real naysayer of crypto, this guy didn't like crypto at all 10 years ago. Google Michael Saylor, Saylor. Read about his company. See what he's doing. Company called MicroStrategy. Their stock price has gone from $50 up to $950 because the guy has taken literally $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and invested it, and now the company is just making more and more money. I like it. It's good stuff. What else? What else can I tell you about Bitcoin? I don't know if you want to hear anything more. What else? Oh God, we're an hour and 8 minutes. I guess I should probably get moving forward. Let me look at the rest of your comments. If there's anything else, please subscribe to the channel. By the way, we're at 933 subscribers. Push to get to that 1,000 point. So Financial Thing could finally get some advertising revenue from the almighty monster that YouTube is. He'll probably ban this video for me saying that, but they take all of our advertising revenue because we don't have 1,000 subscribers. So there you go. Mike Powell says, PropLend now at the point where there's an auto lend queue, at least one loan in arrears. If you switch on for one loan, you might get in the next one, but one. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Hillary Duke. Nice to see you. Mike Powell says, any news on the defection to eToro? Yeah, let me tell you about eToro and the reason why my defection. It's personally a little bit of a business decision because, you know, I'll speak very transparently. Trading 212, I send them a lot of business, and they used to pay like an affiliate fee to me to do that. And I actually enjoy using that platform. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't. But they kind of said to me, well, we're just not going to pay you anymore to use bring us customers. And I'm thinking, okay, I tried to get them to do it and they wouldn't. And eToro was very, amenable to working with me to offer Financial Thing readers a deal that I haven't quite finished up yet, but is going to be helpful for you. So, if a company's willing to work with me and I like that platform, then I'm going to go. I'm going to defect. So the only sucky thing is I'm going to have to sell all of the Trading 212 assets and pay tax. So yeah, that's what's going on with the eToro situation. Yes, I do look like a zebra crossing. Thank you. Lawrence, a few months ago, I remember you saying investment fund were on your peer-to-peer radar. A week ago, Fourthway published a review. Did you put investment fund on the back burner? Still on your radar? Yes, still on my radar. But yeah, I like investment fund. I think those guys are up to good things. I just don't have enough information yet to want to put my own money in there. That's honestly, and I have a lot on my plate with the stuff that we already have under review here. So I'm going to say it's on my radar, but to be continued. When, I don't know. Because I'd be lying if I said that. I did know. How is Funding Circle doing? Nothing's changed as far as I know. Same. Any any thoughts on the Barney between the big sexy turtle and the wig? Bailey versus Judge. I don't have any thoughts about that. It's funny. Any suggestions on platforms for dealing covered options? Yeah, covered calls, interactive brokers so far, I think I would go to. Interactive brokers. My dad only had one joke. Grimsby fan rings the club and asks, what time does today's game start? Club says, when can you come? My dad was from Hull. That's a good joke. I like that. Cufflink has some HMOs at LTV around 40 and some at 70. I would take 40. I'd take a punt at 40. I wouldn't at 70%. You know. Roger Taylor says, I've been investing in Assets Exchange for the last year or so. They're paying 6 to 7%. Yeah, I mean, like Assets Exchange, they've got the brand name. You know, it's hard to be invested into everything, right? I just don't have the time or the finances to invest in every single company. So I'm just kind of happy where I am right now. Assets Exchange has reached out to me a couple of times, so I'm going to get some more information about what they're up to. So, yeah. Latest headline, I read MasterCard and BNY Mellon are now interested in Bitcoin. I'm telling you, you heard it here first, or I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, but this Bitcoin thing is going to become much bigger than you could ever imagine. BNY Mellon now accepting, I don't want to give you the wrong information, but let me tell you the exact news story because I have it in my email. BNY Mellon. I was surprised to see this morning. I thought it was cool. There you go. BNY Mellon to offer Bitcoin services, a validation of crypto from a key bank in the financial system. Bank of New York Mellon, the nation's oldest bank of America, said Thursday it will begin financing Bitcoin and other digital currencies and will eventually allow digital currencies to pass through the same financial network it currently uses for more traditional holdings like U.S. bonds and equities. BNY Mellon is proud to be the first global bank to announce plans to provide an integrated service of digital assets. Listen, you don't think that when one bank does this, the rest of them are going to be all following along. You wait. This is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it will snowball. I promise you that. Now, will Bitcoin's price always keep on roaring ahead? No, of course not. You're going to have corrections. It's the way it is. Annabelle Wren says, any platforms you particularly recommend? You have to clarify which platforms you're talking about, Annabelle. How do you know Bitcoin isn't transparent? I could say I bought 10 billion and nobody would know if I had it or not. Yes, they would, because Bitcoin, you can see every Bitcoin transaction on the ledger. You can go look for it. It's, I think it's on blockchain.com. And some companies, if you go to blockchain.com, you can search blocks and transactions, hashtags. You can find out the information. It's not secret. So. Cufflink's accounts are still 1 year late. If they were listed, their shares would have been suspended months ago. There is something up there. Maybe might be nothing, but why take the risk? Yeah, I don't think it's Personally, my opinion, having spoken to Arinda, I just think it's a slow reporting system with their auditing through Ernst & Young. I could be wrong. That's what I've been told. And yes, it's not ideal. I'm sure Cufflink has been hearing about it for forever, and they need to get it sorted. They do need their accounts up there. I would not deny that. Let's see. Paul said, "What are your thoughts on Dogecoin?" Yeah, Dogecoin is it's very interesting because on the one hand, it's an infinitely mined coin, so there's no cap. There could be trillions of coins. You could use this coin for, it probably has no value, but as long as people trade it, it's going to have some kind of value. It's very liquid, but it's kind of hard to buy because Coinbase doesn't offer it. You can buy it on Binance. Kraken in the US has it. I don't know. I would definitely not stick a lot of money into it. Not sure what its practical uses are going to be in the future. I'm more bullish on Bitcoin than Doge for sure. But, you shove a few $100 into a couple £100, see what happens in 10 years. You don't know. It could be a zero. It wouldn't surprise me if it hit £2 or £3 either. Dave says, interesting the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Agreed. I read up on Bitcoin. I have no idea how to value it. It's based on supply and demand. That's how it's valued. How can you be sure that at some point more Bitcoins might be created? Nothing is 100% guaranteed, but the way it's been coded and designed, there is no possibility of anything more than 21 million being put out into the market, because that's all that was created. I mean, the cryptography levels of the coding on this Bitcoin is insane. Anything's possible. I will not say nothing's possible nor anything's impossible, because there's always a small % chance. But do your research. Go on. Why can't Bitcoin create more? Why can't more Bitcoin be created? Here's why. Bitcoin has a stipulation set forth in its sort code that it must have a limited and finite supply, 21 million 21 million Bitcoins. So one thing about Bitcoin, it's a peer-to-peer coin, right? All these transactions that are happening and all the code is on millions of different computers all over the world. You just can't create more Bitcoins the way it's coded. You'd have to literally access every single one of those computers that has these Bitcoin hashtags running and these nodes and change them. It's impossible. I hope I'm right with the Bitcoin too. Who knows? The mathematical complex on Bitcoin. So the way Bitcoins are mined, right? Computers, they have these server farms. Businesses set up computers, like thousands of computers, and these computers are solving this mathematical puzzle that's very complex. So when one of these computers solves it, they get rewarded with the Bitcoin. So the mathematics that go into the coding of Bitcoin is very, very intricate, very advanced, very difficult to hack. You'd have to hack every single computer that was running Bitcoin nodes. It would be impossible. Yeah, and by the way, so one of the other things is people say about Bitcoin, it's costing more and more money to mine them because electricity. I believe 2% of the entire world's electricity now is going into Bitcoin mining. Well, what's happening though is these companies that mine Bitcoins, they just go to wherever the electricity is cheapest. Is it sustainable? That's one of the biggest questions. I don't know about that. But as the supply chain starts to decrease, you're going to see miners will come out of the business because there won't be enough Bitcoins to be profitable for these miners to continue. So you'll see the mining pools start to decrease as the supply of Bitcoin decreases. We're at about 18 million right now. We've only got 3 million left to mine. So the electricity will start to reduce over the long run when you hit the 21 million. It's a big question, though, about the electricity and the kind of effects it's been having on our world. MicroStrategy, which is that's Michael Saylor, giving their Bitcoin how to research and other info away to other companies for free. Got to be a game changer. Yeah, MicroStrategy is an information company, by the way. So that is a game changer. Apparently, world crypto mining uses more energy than Argentina. Absolutely true. I should start a cryptocurrency channel. No, there's so many good channels out there that do a lot better job than I do with it. So I just try to give you the information that I have. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, mining coins is interesting if you can figure out how to become a coin miner. I remember back in 2012, my friend's girlfriend was mining. She had a computer set up to mine, and it's just problem is you're up against these companies that have thousands and thousands of computers and are mining so fast. You have to be able to solve the math equation on your one computer. It's very difficult. Very difficult. John says, I've read that crypto miners need to buy high-end graphic cards and link machines. Yeah, they have to have very powerful computers. These crypto miners are quite expensive, and the electricity is expensive. A lot of them are moving from places like Iceland, Sweden. They have to cool these server farms because there's a lot of computers generating a lot of heat. So they have to be. That's why they go to places like Sweden and Iceland, because it's cold there. But the electricity has become more expensive, so they're having to move to places like Texas, where the electricity is cheapest. Some of the places, some states in America have very low regulations on electricity, so they can provide cheaper electricity. David Lightly says, I promise I won't mention Cufflink's late accounts again until they file or crash, whichever comes first. Yeah, hopefully not crashing. Mike Powell says, gone off Assets Exchange since they tweaked the model so they don't so holdings are denominated so they don't makes it hard to relate value of holdings of assets rather than just secondary market Paris. Annabelle says platforms for buying Vanguard ETFs. I think for you, since you, any of them, honestly, Annabelle, sell them like eToro, iWeb, Halifax, IG, Interactive Brokers, Charles Stanley. Whatever you can get an account, you can buy a Vanguard ETF. Richard Weber says, I suspect quantum computing will pose a risk to Bitcoin in the future. I don't know. Yeah, you can buy Trading 212, Annabelle has. Trading 212 is not accepting new accounts at the moment, waitlist. I'll be putting an eToro link on Financial Thing under the cashback page if you want to sign up. I'll be able to give you some cash back too for a sign up. I'll put details on. I'm not sure how much the cashback's going to be, but if you want to open an eToro account, you'll be able to do that. As Lawrence says, Bitcoin is essentially a very complex mathematical puzzle. Quantum computing will be a game changer in computing power, making it possible to break complex algorithms. Interesting. Arthur said, can I invest in your green juice? I wouldn't bother. It's very expensive. Assets Exchange just sold first property for a loss. Looks like 10% capital loss. Yeah, so I've never, I'm kind of put off by these companies that are selling shares, and property ownership. I've not done well with it in the past, and so that was kind of one of the reasons that Assets Exchange was really off my radar. So I'm not surprised. Debbie, hi, Mixed Media Art says lost Bitcoins of the existing 18.5 million, around 20% appears to be lost. If this is anywhere near correct, there's a lot of investors pulling their hair out. Yeah, I would imagine. Darren says, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Saylor directly advised and helped Elon Musk and Tesla to get into Bitcoin. Yeah, I've heard about the guy who says he's got millions of Bitcoin and he's lost his passwords. There's people like that all over the place. I don't know whether the story is true. Hard to verify. But yeah, a lot of people, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of very wealthy people getting into Bitcoin now. So that price will continue to be pumped up. Eventually it will correct and come back down. When? I have no idea. I think next price point is obviously going to be 50,000 US. That will be the next topping point. I don't think you're going to get back into Bitcoin for less than 30,000 US now. Probably 40,000. If you see a correction under 40,000, for me, it's a good buying point. I continue to buy monthly whenever I see the price dip. But if you're hanging on looking for those $25,000 price points now at this point, I don't think you're going to see it. So if you're waiting, yeah, there you go. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Of course, we're always under an hour. As always, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the subscribe. Join the Financial Think Facebook group if you want to. You can Google it. We are on there all the time discussing what's going on in the investing and peer-to-peer lending world. I will put a link in here into the chat so you can have it. Here you go. Here is the investing group. Sign up. Come hang out with us. By the way, if you're on the group and you spot a spammer, just direct message me or put it in the chat and I'll take care of them. Sometimes they do get through. But thank you very, very much to everybody for joining me in my cough this week. Sorry for coughing in your ear, but it happens. Yeah, and we'll be back next Thursday. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed talking to you about this stuff. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week. Adios, ciao, bon voyage, auf Wiedersehen, and all that good stuff. Take care. We'll see you soon.